So there were 5 rounds that was conducted by EXL. The first round was the aptitude round, the second round was the exemplary round, and we had 3 rounds of interview. The number of students that gave this test was around 150 to 200 students. They had an online test. This online test consisted basically of 4 sections. It had a quant, it had a DI, it had English, and it had LR. It was basically a 1-hour test. So the number of students that were selected were about 51 students. So on the very same day, we were called up for the next round, which was the extempo round. So there were at least 4 officials from the company that came up. Each student was sent respectively to the subsequent official. So in my case, I was called up and I was given a choice to speak on the extempo round. It had to be a 2-minute round, 2 to 5 minute round. So the choice was either say something on the last book that I've read or say something on Hast's Ways. So I was lucky enough that I had finished a book in the morning only, and which happened to be Kite Runner. So I gave a brief idea about the book, and the best part was that the company official also had read it. So it was a win-win situation. So the next round were basically the 3 rounds of interview. So the first round happens to be the aptitude there is no sort of technical round in a consultancy round. So there was an aptitude round. I was asked, when I came up, the company official asked me to describe myself, post in a few my own skill points. The weird question that he asked was that, say, what all questions already has leaked outside. So just bargaining on the honesty part, so I just said, yeah, 2 questions, so and so questions have leaked up. So he asked me a new set of questions. So they happened to be just 4 questions. The first question was that he gave me an algebraic expression. It had exponential series, multiplications and what sorts, and I had to give the last digit. The second question had to be again an exponential series, and it was being divided by a number. I had to give the last digit of the remainder. The third was a series was given, 4 numbers was given, there was some sort of relationship between them, and the 5th number I had to guess it out. The final question, which I sort of didn't know, I had to ask, was that, say, a jar had 4 pills and they all looked alike. 2 were Disprin, 2 were Crocin. Okay, so how are you going to ensure that you have the same sort of pill? So I just reached the answer halfway, that you break the pills and then you take it. So he just helped me out, so that's it. So after coming out, I thought, man, I won't be get selected. So people are there saying all questions done, so good. But I was the first person who was forwarded out for the second round. The second round was taken by the EVP of the company, that is Assistant Vice President. So she came up, she told me to sit down and all. So she just asked me, how many companies have you sat on? Have you already sat? So I said like ZS, Future First, PepsiCo, and there was perhaps one more company. So what were the reasons you were actually chucked out from the company? Okay, so ZS, ma'am, paper, I couldn't clear the paper. Future First, again I couldn't clear the paper. PepsiCo, ma'am, GD, I was out in the GD. I don't know what criteria what the company was giving. So that was that. So she asked again to describe myself. So you did in description, what else can you say? That, yeah, good person, you're getting a good CG, you work hard. Okay, so skill points again, good communication skills. Okay, I'm always ready to work, eagerness. So that was that. The next part was that why EXL? Okay, what does EXL do? So before coming and applying for the company itself, so I had just read outsourcing and transformation of the top global 100 companies services. So I said the very same thing, but the catchy part was the diversity of the company that it invested. It had officials working on industries, it had officials as consultants, as services, as utilities for transport, etc. So that was done. Then what she asked, what do we do? What is this? Decision analytics, what do we do? So it was like plain answer, ma'am, it's analytics, of course. So what else? So what all departments do you think we have? So I told that I wasn't sure enough. There might be 2 departments. The one department that proposes an idea and does the analytics part. The second department looks that it goes in that course of action. So she told me that in the PPT we mentioned the 4 departments there. Weren't you attentive enough? So ma'am, I didn't attend the PPT. Why? Aren't we too good? Are we like that? So no ma'am, I actually had another paper of Tata Motors coming up, so I had to give that paper. You never know when you get to land up with a job. So that was done. So you being an engineer, why are you applying for consultancy like EXL Service? So I've been an engineer. I did my training in a far off place, say in Tamil Nadu, in remote area of Chhattisgarh. Okay, we didn't have proper roads, we didn't have a social life, we didn't have proper net connection. We had to wait in library for 2 hours that we're gonna do Facebook or whatever stuff. So that kind of life, it's all good, okay, but I consider myself that we have to stay in touch with the whole world. Then only I can perform well. So she counter questioned me that you're one guy. You want everything to be sophisticated. What you want is fancy cubicles, fancy parties. You want to drink booze and just have fun. So that's sort of it. Yeah, aren't you trying to escape from a situation? So the best thing and the last thing I would say is that ma'am, if I continue to work in such an environment, being an electrical engineer, you actually land up in such places, remote places only. So it will do more harm to me rather than anybody else on the company. So it was that much. She then gave me a situation that, say you're handling clients, you have your team lead standing there and he's abusing you constantly for your inappropriacy and you're not good or this. So how are you gonna handle the situation? So what else can I do? I'll just take him aside. I'm gonna calm him down. I'm gonna say that do whatever you wanna do. I'm just with you. So she wasn't satisfied with the answer. But I'm not looking for this kind of answer. That's all what you wanna do. Aren't you gonna say that so I'll perform well, I'll do good, I'll live it up? Okay. So ma'am, isn't it self-explanatory? If I even say these words in an interview during that time, he's already angry. It won't affect him in any way. So after that, you were like, okay, see. So why data analysis? Okay. What attracts you about data analysis? So I had actually read an 8-page article on New York Times of how companies learn secrets of their customers. So I practically recited that article. So she was all intrigued. Yeah, it's very good, very good. It's all fine. And finally she asked me that, what do you have any question for us? So in that case, I had an HR question which I had prepared beforehand, and it was one question that even she was shocked. So it was a question like, say you have an immediate boss and you have a super boss, and if your immediate boss is minting money, stealing money from your client, is stealing clients or whatever, how are you gonna deal with this situation? So she was like, generally people ask, man, how is the company performing, quarter earnings kya hai, quarter 1 mein kya hua, quarter 2 mein kya hua. So it wasn't that. So she asked me, why are you asking this question? My sister asked me, my dad isn't replying because he says, come into the corporate world. So since I have been exposed to such an environment, how can I answer? So the answer was basically on perspective. She went on for 15 minutes giving her perspective that she might even fire a person for taking a pencil from her, or maybe even wouldn't care if someone took 2 lakh rupees from the client or something. So she even asked me what would my perspective or what would my decision would be. So in that case, what I replied that perhaps I'll just want the client to get your financials straight, so that the other person can steal money or make money from you. So it all ended there. It was like 1 hour 15 minutes as a proper. So after that, after a long while, a third round of interview started. A third round of interview was taken by our own alumni from NIT Kurukshetra. So it was pretty casual. It was around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock when we were having that interview. So he again asked me that on which part of the interview process that you like the most. So again, the HR process and the ex-tempo, because this is something that you don't see. Either people have on GD or something else. So this was good. So what part of AVP, AVP did you like the most? So this part, the data analytics part, I liked it. The situation that she posed, I like that part. Okay, so So he told me that what I'll do is I'll give you a question on series. It's pretty complex. Just let me know the answer. So he gave me a question. It was like two. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm already sleepy and also I'm like yeah I do. So it took me 10 minutes. He thought he was just gonna say that give up. Okay, so I came up with an answer and he's happy. So this happened. So he asked me that you are applying to EXL. Are you sure that you're gonna be selected? Yeah, I don't know, sir. So if you don't know, so there might be other companies that you're looking forward to. Okay, yes, sir. So why is that? Aren't you confident enough? So I belong from a middle class family. Yeah, I need to have a backup plan. Nothing is sure shot in this world in this sort of competition. So he was like, "Okay, it's all good." So he asked a bit of my family background, okay, of where I've been and all, and then that was all. So if asked about the useful tips, you always have to be confident enough. The best part of an interview is maybe HR is that it's up to you where you lead the questions. Always end your sentences in a phrase, in that phrase which the other person would generally ask about. Okay, whatever job profile that you are applying for, know that through and through. Read a few articles, and you will be all good. What else is that have respect for the persons. Don't show over desperateness for the job, and that's it.